So these AirPods Pro released almost 3 years ago now at this point, back in October of 2019. It's kind of crazy to think about that it's been 3 years because these things still seem brand new, they still seem futuristic, and they still work extremely well. But again, back in 2019, Apple changed the game again with these AirPods Pro. In 2016, they released their regular AirPods and pretty much brought it to the masses. And then the AirPods Pro was just another form of that AirPods, but with active noise cancellation and transparency mode, which is the first time that it really came to the masses. Now I know that there was in-ear headphones that actually did this before. I think Sony had a pair and there were some other brands that did it, but Apple was the first one to really bring it to everybody and show off the power of active noise cancellation in a tiny form factor. So no longer were we in a situation where we needed those big Sonys or those big Bose headphones, those over-ear headphones to get that noise cancellation done and do it at a very quality level. But like I mentioned, it's been almost 3 years since these have been released, and a little birdie's been telling me that we might be due for an AirPods 2 kind of revamp later this year. So in this video, we're going to be going over some leaks and rumors, and we're going to find out exactly what's going to happen with this new AirPods Pro 2, from features to design to the new carrying case if there is one, and finally that release date and price point. But without further ado, let's talk about those AirPods Pro 2. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the potential design of the new AirPods Pro 2. And yes, that is a mouthful. Try saying that 5 times fast. So there are 2 possible outcomes when it comes to a redesign of the AirPods Pro 2. Ming-Chi Kuo stated earlier this year that Apple's going to take a page out of the Beats Fit Pro kind of style and design, which is kind of that like wingtip ear design that you get with those Beats Fit Pros, and then also the carrying case kind of changing kind of completely at this point with a little bit of a thicker and longer design to fit those earbuds. And then after that, there was another leak by 52 Audio, which actually they guessed the actual design of the AirPods 3 perfectly. So this has been the latest rumor, which is Apple's going to kind of remain with that same kind of profile and design of the AirPods Pro that it has currently and kind of stay with that same case in the same shape, but they will add some sort of wingtip. I think it's going to be built into the actual headphone, so I don't think it's going to be like an interchangeable wingtip that they're going to be showing off. But the wingtip is going to be put there to add a tighter seal to the actual headphone inside of the ear canal because they're bringing a new feature, which we're going to talk about in a second. And that wingtip and that extra seal inside of the ear canal is going to help with that feature. One thing that hasn't been mentioned, which makes me a little bit sad, at least selfishly, is that there's going to be no new colors, right? Apple's not going to introduce any matte black everything color or red or blue or anything like that. They're going to stay with their classic white design. And from Apple's point of view, it makes sense that they stay with the white design because it's so iconic. If you have a white pair of headphones and people see you in public with those white headphones, more likely than not, they're gonna be Apple branded headphones, whether it's the AirPods, the wired regular earbuds, I don't even know what they're called at this point, or the AirPods Pro. Apple is just, they want to keep that style and that design language of their AirPods Pro. So it's also a marketing play. So people are aware that those are AirPods by Apple versus, another pair of black headphones from another no-name company. If they keep them white, people are going to know that they're Apple headphones. So now that we have the 2 design options out of the way, the next thing we're going to talk about is actual features and reasons to upgrade, right? Again, the current AirPods Pro lineup is really, really good. It's got the active noise cancellation, it's got the transparency mode. They're best in class in their form factor. Like, I love the actual active noise cancellation and I use it every single day on the subway while commuting. So I'm very used to blocking out the noise, and it works with airplane noises, with subway noises, with chatter, with whatever you see fit in that tiny, tiny form factor. But some features that could be brought over to, again, entice people to upgrade, the number one thing is lossless audio. So currently there is no lossless audio feature in any of the AirPods lineup, and the main reason is because of Bluetooth connectivity limitations. But Apple is supposedly upgrading to Bluetooth 5.2, which will erase those limitations and allow us to listen to lossless audio through these new AirPods Pro 2. And then Apple should be bringing in their new generation of H1 chip, which is Apple's like audio chip that they put into all of their AirPods, or at least all the new AirPods. So it's probably going to be named the H2, knowing Apple's like moniker of naming. But the combination of the H2 with the 5.2 connectivity or Bluetooth connectivity means that we're going to get a substantial upgrade in sound quality, especially when doing audio calls. I know a lot of people aren't calling on the phone anymore, but I'm a person that still does. So having an upgrade to audio calls is going to be awesome. And obviously it's going to carry over to sound quality overall with music, podcasts, whatever you guys are listening to. So even if we don't get lossless audio, which I do think we will, getting that 5.2 Bluetooth connectivity is going to allow for more bandwidth wirelessly, and then also whatever Apple's going to do with the H2 is going to help tremendously with sound quality. And then this next feature that I'm going to talk about is probably one that might not come, but there was some inkling earlier this year that Apple might introduce some sort of health tracking feature on the AirPods Pro 2. In theory, it makes complete sense, right? Like, when do you wear your AirPods? For me personally, I use it when I'm walking through New York City, when I'm working out, when I'm on the subway, when I'm on the go. So being able to have a health tracker to, again, count your steps or to sync perfectly with your health and fitness application and your Apple Watch, heart rate monitor, heart sensors, things like that built into there, it makes total sense, but I don't think Apple's gonna implement them quite yet because in my opinion, it's just not ready yet, right? Think about how small those AirPods are. They're tiny, especially compared to, let's say, an Apple Watch, which does have that O2 blood oxygen level. It has the heart rate sensor and all that good stuff. The AirPods are way, way smaller. They're already boasting a speaker in there. They're supposed to play audio. They have an H1 chip. They have active noise cancellation, transparency mode. So it seems like a lot to be able to put into an actual AirPod. So that one's probably going to be 50-50 in terms of a new feature, but it was something that was brought up earlier this year. And if Apple doesn't do it with this generation of AirPods, it's going to come into the future because once it's small enough to implement into AirPods, it just makes total sense to integrate some sort of health connectivity onto the AirPods Pro 2. So now that we got the features out of the way, let's talk about the case itself, because if you have AirPods in your ear, you're gonna have the carrying case. I don't know a single person that just rocks the AirPods without the case in their pocket because I would lose a million AirPods. And knock on wood, to this day, I have not lost an AirPod even 3 years later. But from a design standpoint, the case is gonna remain relatively the same. There are some inklings that it's going to actually get a tiny bit slimmer, about 2.5 millimeters slimmer, just to make the case a tiny bit smaller to fit in your pocket. But I mean, it's already small enough for my book. I even have a case on it at all times, either by Pitaka or Sandmark or Andar. Whatever backpack I'm rocking that day, I kind of match it with my AirPods case just because I don't know, I like the extra protection and I like the aesthetic. But then to switch over to the actual case itself from a charging standpoint, obviously it's gonna still have the wireless charging, it's still gonna be MagSafe compatible, which I really, really liked when Apple implemented it. Even to the older generation of AirPods, they just updated the cases to all new ones being sold. But then also, there was a rumor that it would be USB-C, but to this point, Apple's probably not going to do that. It's going to still remain a Lightning port. And in my opinion, they're actually going to opt out of any ports entirely before they put USB-C on these AirPods Pro. So if there are an AirPods Pro 3, it's probably going to be completely portless and it's going to be all Qi and MagSafe wireless charging. And then the last two things that I want to go over are the launch date and then finally the price. So the launch date, supposedly we're supposed to get it in Q4 of 2022, so towards the tail end of the holiday season, which honestly, that probably makes sense. It's probably going to be released alongside an M2 iPad Pro, in October of 2022 with pre-order starting at the end of October. So then it could be ready for the holiday season come early November and then into December and into Christmas time and New Year's. So that's when I think the AirPods Pro 2 will be delivered to people's houses with pre-order starting sometime in October. And then finally, let's ask that $250 question, which is, how much are these AirPods Pro 2 going to be worth, right? Is Apple going to totally forego the AirPods Pro and remove it from the lineup and replace it completely with these new Pro 2s at that same price point? Or are they going to increase the price and keep the AirPods Pro? Are they going to keep the same price and keep the Pro 1s and reduce that price? Those are all questions that are still yet to be seen. But in my personal opinion, from everything that I've read, I think Apple's going to actually get rid of the Pro 1s completely and then replace it with the Pro 2s at the $250 price point. Because think about it. If Apple doesn't drop the Pro 1s, that means they're going to have to increase the price of the Pro 2s, and I don't think there's enough of a feature set unless there was some sort of health monitoring and lossless audio was guaranteed. Then maybe I can see Apple increasing it by about $50 to that $300 price point and then keeping the Pro 1s. But with these AirPods Pro 2, there isn't going to be much health monitoring, if at all, and then there might be lossless audio depending on what happens by that October timeframe. So if neither of those features are implemented with the Pro 2s, I think the Pro 1s will get totally removed from the Apple AirPod lineup, replaced with the Pro 2s, and then the one underneath that is going to be the AirPods Pro 3 at that $189 price point, because if you get a Pros 2 at $200 or like $225, it just makes no sense in that lineup. Apple already has their regular AirPods 2, they have their AirPods 3, and then they're going to have their AirPods Pro 2 for whoever wants to get that extra level of active noise cancellation and lossless audio. And then the question is going to be, do you need to upgrade if you already have the Pro 1s? In my opinion, unless Apple really wows us with a crazy feature, which we haven't seen leaked or rumored at all yet, aside from those health monitoring features, then I don't really see a big reason to upgrade. The noise cancellation is already, way above average. The transparency mode is kind of in a class of its own, even compared to like AirPods Maxes and anything else in the market. So AirPods Pro right now is a great buy. I know that Amazon has some great deals for it, and I know Amazon Prime Day is coming around. So if you guys do want to check them out, I'll link some in the description below. You guys are probably going to save anywhere from $60 to $90 on some AirPod Pros right now. But I do believe that Apple's going to give us at least one more thing that's going to wow us and entice us enough to upgrade from the AirPods 1, aside from maybe like your battery life isn't lasting as long, which is something that honestly continues to impress. My original AirPods that I had, the battery life was done after 2 years, but these AirPods Pro, so far so good. Honestly, my battery has not really, degraded too much, if at all, and it's not really noticeable. I still get around 3 to 4 hours of active noise cancellation, streaming with those AirPod Pro Gen 1s. So unless Apple can either increase the battery life or give me a real good reason to upgrade to the Pro 2s, then holding onto your Pro 1s, unless maybe there's like a rattle that you have or something that makes you really want to upgrade, maybe they're too dirty at this point and you've gotten all the mileage you want out of them and you want something new. So let's see what Apple does, whether they redesigned it or not, whether they add some new features or not. I'm curious to see what Apple does. Leave some comments down below of what you think Apple's going to do to, again, entice us to upgrade from the Pro 1s to the Pro 2s. And I'm sorry I'm saying AirPods and Pro and non-Pro and all this stuff too many times because Apple's naming nomenclature lately has been all over the place. But that's going to do it for this video. If you guys did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And like I said, leave a comment down below. Would you upgrade? Which AirPods do you currently have? Are you even AirPod users? And are AirPods worth the hype, in your opinion? I do believe so, just from a pure connectivity standpoint and ease of use, if you are in that walled garden. But let me know in the comments below, everybody. But if you guys do want to watch some more videos on some iOS, iPadOS, or macOS stuff, click on one of these videos right here. And until next time, everybody, peace.